Alright, hello everybody, and welcome back to Osumania Long Note Tournament 4. We are back for another match. I believe this is going to be our second match for this Sunday weekend. Definitely gone by quite quickly. We have Darkhechiser versus imyeeyee, two pretty close seeds who definitely have their ups and downs when it comes to all of these qualifiers, but of course this is the round of 64. Things are prone to change, especially just because we are going to a bit of an easier match, but I'm commentating this match, and with me I'm also going to be having Potassium. Potassium, how are you doing?
I'm doing very well. This is looking like an exciting matchup actually here because, as you said, the seed's very close. Seed 31 versus seed 34. And in particular, looking at these qualifier scores, not really any clear advantages for either player. Despite imyeeyee being a bit higher seeded, it does seem like he excels more in kind of those more physical later game kind of LNs in comparison. So this one really kind of a bit of a toss-up between the two players.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think imyeeyee has a little bit of an advantage when it comes to like these coordination, these techier picks. Although it is going to be slightly easier, so potentially they might have just a little bit of a bigger advantage. But it does look like Darkhechiser does have a little bit of advantage when it comes to these like density picks. So maybe something along the lines of Tech 3, Wildcard 3, and all the density picks, of course.
Yeah, I guess more of the kind of like accuracy focused picks is maybe where Darkhechiser wants to go towards. imyeeyee definitely a strong combo player, strong physical player, does have the coordination required, so I'm assuming that's kind of where we're going to be seeing the protects and bans go towards, but we'll see. Is that imyeeyee rolling one? Oh no, it's 1 out of 2, okay.
I would assume both of these players maybe take into account like that, I guess, small little insight into both of their skill sets maybe. So maybe we see one of the coordination tech picks be banned, and maybe we see one of the density picks banned. It's a little early to kind of say, especially just because like we don't have that many stats for all of these players just in general.
Yeah, definitely limited with what we have with only the qualifiers for sure, especially when we are looking at an overall easier map pool compared to the qualifiers map pool. So not all of those kind of harder qualifier scores are necessarily going to apply just yet, but we'll see what they decide to do. Maybe a little bit of digging around, trying some things out in this match might be worth for both players.
Yeah, and it looks like imyeeyee might be not having their proper setup.
Didn't bring his keyboard and gonna do the random protects and bans. The interesting strategy there.
Wildcard 2 protect. I think this is a good choice on paper. I think we said this last time, or I mean, it was said in one of the matches, but I think Wildcard 2 like kind of encapsulates both tech and coordination at the same time. Or not.
And rolling more. The rolls actually resulting in some pretty decent bans, you would have to say. Decent decisions here for imyeeyee. One of the more, I guess, like density focused wildcards there taken out, something that maybe Darkhechiser would want to opt for sometime during the match.
Yeah, these protects and bans, they kind of make sense on paper. Even if like it's a random roll, it just happens to kind of work out exactly how you would think this would go.
I have seen much worse random rolls for bans and picks before, so I think it's worked out pretty well.
Yeah, it's definitely that kind of RNG aspect on their side at least.
Darkhechiser gonna ban the coordination 1, so kind of, I guess, sort of within expectations here for all of the protects and the bans.
Yeah, it's in the ballpark range. I mean, I think any of the coordination picks, any of the tech picks work just fine. Maybe there's like one pick in particular that's a little bit better compared to like all of these other ones, but I mean, what can you really do with like this limited info that we really have this early on, especially?
And continuing on with the rolls being good picks for imyeeyee, getting saved a little bit by the RNG perhaps, but this is another one of those coordination picks that we did say is going to be looking pretty good, at least on paper, for imyeeyee.
Yeah, especially just because both of these players are well known in the tournament scene, I would say. I mean, obviously, imyeeyee being a really, really physical player, like you said, Darkhechiser being a really well-rounded player in terms of just like regular tournaments. So they both have a little bit of info kind of going into Coordination 3, just given that it's kind of a bit of a more modern approach to coordination.
Yeah, for sure. They should both be fairly comfortable with this one overall, so it might, at the end, come down to that accuracy and who can maintain it the most. Not easy to do with a lot of these release timings.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Especially with that like grace kind of note sections that we get every now and then. It definitely builds a little bit of a challenge, and obviously that finger control aspect and that hold strain, that's just going to become so much more impactful in a pick like this one.
Out the gate here, actually, it looks like Darkhechiser up to a little bit of a better start, but not too far apart between the two. imyeeyee still keeping up with 99.75.
Yeah, both of them being very, very even. Although
both of them dropping 200s there a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, I would expect imyeeyee to maybe struggle just a little bit more than we might expect, just because, I mean, like we were just told, he doesn't have his keyboard with him.
That is also true, something to consider with all of these. Going to be especially hurting more when it comes to like the accuracy. I always feel like different peripherals really do mess with your timing a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we kind of see it looks like they are hitting just a little bit late in terms of like older bad judgments, but even then they're still so even.
Yeah, really close together. 99.57. Whenever one player is dropping these 200s, it's being traded immediately. And there is absolutely no advantage still. Flicking back and forth, we can see at the top of the screen there.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those matches where like you think it's going to be close, and it absolutely is close for all the right reasons.
Yeah, absolutely. Halfway through the map, still a long way to go, but absolutely zero advantage still. Darkhechiser does drop a little bit of back now. This is a, what, 0.03 advantage for imyeeyee.
God, it's such a small advantage, but like it's easy to understand why they're all dropping like every now and then. I mean, you have like the sections that I was mentioning earlier where it's like kind of greasy, which obviously it's a little bit tricky, especially when you have to like coordinate all of those releases at the same time. And then obviously you have like these longer LNs, which add that coordination aspect that I think everyone's really familiar with in terms of just coordination picks in general.
Yeah, absolutely, and this lead is actually starting to widen ever so slightly. imyeeyee managing to maintain this 99.59. Darkhechiser does drop a little bit down to 99.54. Still small differences, but Darkhechiser does drop a couple more 200s there.
Yeah, definitely a bit of a scary position to be in, but it's definitely not over. I mean, we've seen both of them drop 200s here and there, so potentially maybe imyeeyee drops a few 200s, especially as we get into like this final course right here where things do bump up just a little bit in terms of that kind of difficulty and accuracy.
imyeeee's accuracy just not dropping for the longest time, now up to 99.6 again. And as we're approaching the end of this map, looking to close it out with a couple 1,000-point lead.
Gosh, that is so close. Like that has to be like one of like the closest points we've seen just in general in this tournament. Like not even just in this match specifically, because obviously it's just the start.
Yeah, I mean a lot of these rounds, obviously we're expecting the big seed differences to be fairly prominent in the matches, but here we can definitely see why they're so close seed. Even though imyeeyee does win the act, the ratio is actually better on the side of Darkhechiser, so it's really only those 200s.
Yeah, and immediately going into density 1, which, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, obviously with what we were talking about earlier, and that density 2 protect. This one is going to be a little bit tricky though. I feel like this one isn't completely one-sided, especially just given the fact that like this one isn't like so continuous. You have that like coordination aspect and that like pseudo inverse sections that come up every now and then. It's quite tricky to hold good accuracy on this one.
Might come down once again to those 200s. Darkhechiser are definitely going to want to avoid those as much as possible with those within those coordination sections.
Yeah, but thankfully it is a density pick, so who knows, maybe the advantage of being able to play these density picks pops up. I mean, we did see them score a little bit better on the density qualifier, which did have that kind of pseudo coordination aspect, but not as heavy as this one, especially with the fact that this one has like a lot of staggered releases from time to time, which makes it so easy just to choke random 200s here and there.
And we're already seeing it once again, another identical start for both of the players, 99.7.
Yeah, both of them just climbing up and then going down and down. It's really so hard to say who has the advantage, especially this early on. I mean, even though we're past like that 400 combo, and I guess you could say even past like the regular 400 combo, just because like each element is 2 notes technically due to like the releases, it's still just so close.
Yeah, it's still perfectly tied, 99.73. And they both reached 99.74 at the same time as well. 200 being dropped by Darkhechiser, but that doesn't really dent the lead that much. Just a small lead in favor of imyeeyee currently.
Yeah, especially with like these like inverse sections. And this section right here, which it is a bit of a break part, but even then, I mean, LN files are so infamous for still being tricky to hold good accuracy on, even in the break section, and you can see why.
Of course, you really can't afford to relax your muscles too much. You still have notes to be able to hold down, to be able to hit in the break sections. So far, imyeeyee maintaining this lead by a little bit, 1,000 points only.
Yeah, it's slowly building up, kind of like what we saw with like the last pick, where it didn't really show its lead, but even then, it's starting to become just a little bit more closer, especially as like the hold straight on this density pick is quite prominent.
These accuracies now even closer than they were before. imyeeyee does drop a little bit of accuracy. This is starting to almost flick towards the other side, but there's not much time left in the map.
Oh my god, it is so close!
Oh, it's tied! imyeeyee drops a couple 200s, and it's tied! There's no way to tell who has the lead right now. There's going to be Darkhechiser! 223 points at the very end. That was a few regular 300s from imyeeyee that decided it.
223!
Absolutely insanely close. These two scores are inseparable. You cannot look at that and tell me that one is better than the other. But Darkhechiser does come away with their own first pick, crucially as well, tying it up 1-1.
Yeah, especially just because, like I was saying, like this pick isn't gonna be like that kind of one-sided density pick, especially like with what we saw, like those staggered releases. It definitely adds up to a few grades if you aren't careful enough. And we saw that happen right there. But ooh, Tech 2.
Interesting one to go towards. Of course, I mean, if imyeeyee was picking consciously, you know, you would think the coordination 2 might be coming out as well, but of course, with this pick strategy, we can never really predict what's going to come out.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't a bad pick either. I mean, it has like that control aspect that we saw in both Coordination 3 and Intensity 1. And obviously, we have the snap changes that kind of happen throughout this song, just because, I mean, everyone knows this artist. I'm sure everyone knows this song by now.
Yeah, for sure. Very popular song for good reason as well within the kind of like rhythm game Osu scene. But I think, yeah, this is an interesting one because, I mean, we've been seeing imyeeyee consistently has been getting less 200s overall. It's been Darkhechiser winning out in the ratio department. And this one, once again, another one of these maps that's really easy to drop 200s. So if imyeeyee can build up that advantage in that way, this could end up working out well for him.
Yeah, it's definitely a risky game to be in. I mean, just in general, especially like when you're kind of going into the mindset of playing in this tournament, it really is a huge focus on, do you want to risk getting more 300s, or would you rather have a good ratio but risk getting some 200s? Because I mean, with Ellens, it's so easy just to drop either of them so easily.
And I think this is probably just going to be a theme that we're seeing every single map this match. They're so even in the initial accuracies, 99.7 for both players.
God, this one's so close. I mean, we haven't even gotten to like the main like heavy sections. I mean, we're starting to see them a little bit, especially with these shields being introduced every now and then. But oh man.
Yeah, imyeeyee actually dropping a couple 200s here and there on these shield patterns. Definitely going to be costing him a bit of a lead now, dropping down to 99.6 flat. Darkhechiser does drop a little bit, but oh, that's a miss!
Oh, that is the worst place to miss in, especially when it's imyeeee's pick, because potentially this could be like a turning point, like a pick that Darkhechiser might just need, especially as like the picks start to get lower and lower.
Absolutely, this is like the one pick that we did see Darkhechiser doing well in the 200 count-wise, but if there's a miss there, the accuracy dropping actually quite a lot from imyeeyee, but it shouldn't matter at the end of the day. These are way too close to counteract a miss, and there's a second one from Darkhechiser, going to be imyeeyee managing to take his second point.
It's really unfortunate, especially just looking, I mean, at the accuracies. It looks like Darkhechiser has the overall accuracy advantage when it comes to this pick specifically.
Absolutely. Yeah, look at the ratio and the 200 count in the favor of Darkhechiser. Just those 50s and misses, presumably happening at the same time there.
God, that's unfortunate, but I mean, if this is an indicator of anything, potentially we could see a breakpoint coming from Darkhechiser.
Yeah, and I think these other density picks that we're going to be seeing coming out here, like Density 2, Density 3, a little bit more straightforward snapping-wise compared to the Density 1 as well. So I think some of these, like, less focused on release timing maps, I think is where Darkhechiser might avoid the 200s a bit more and get that accuracy advantage.
Yeah, I think this is a good pick. I mean, me personally, I find Density 3 just really hard to act in general, just because like it's I guess a little bit of a heavier coordination pick compared to the qualifiers one. But I mean, this one is quite continuous, so it could work in favor of Darkhechiser.
Yeah, I think no matter what the expectation is of who's going to win, we should be expecting the accuracies to be basically the same in the intro here.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we get into this session, which kind of starts off into what we go really step.
Back to this point, right? 99.8 for both players.
God, this is so nerve-wracking. I mean, I assume both these players know that they're incredibly close, especially when like they look at the results, and especially when they look at like how far away in terms of like the points they were. And I'd imagine their nerves start to get higher and higher with each pick.
Yeah, absolutely. Some of these picks been so close, but right now it looks like Darkhechiser are managing to pull ahead very, very slightly in terms of the accuracy. Very strong 99.8 right now, beating out imyeeee's 99.74.
Yeah, it's definitely a bit of a lead, but by no means of the imagination is it even a huge lead or even a comfortable lead. I mean, you see it, it's flickering between that like 1.7k to like 2.5k, which that's such a small gap. One miss and you are over.
Oh yeah, more than enough. One miss would be to switch it to the other side, so FC is required for both players if they want to win any points here.
Yeah, but as we're getting into this outro right here, it does look like we're going to see it go towards Darkhechiser, as long as no misses are given.
Really clean score here coming out. Both players managing the FC, and Darkhechiser with, is that a Scorpion 1 double S? Yeah.
Ooh.
Really strong ratio.
That is a good score. I mean, imyeeee's score being really good as well, just not being able to keep up in terms of that ratio, which it definitely showing that it matters a lot more in a pick like this one.
So the density does work out at the end here for Darkhechiser. imyeeyee now going to have to figure, I say figure out what to pick. I think I know how we're going to how he's going to figure that out.
I mean, maybe he looks at these like previous picks and decides, okay, maybe I shouldn't be risking it. My opponent has a little bit of an advantage when it comes to that ratio, and depending on the pick, it could backfire for them.
Absolutely could. Wildcard 2 looks like it's going to be the pick, actually. Going to be the previous Protect.
Yeah, and I think they're still rolling for their picks.
Yeah, that was a roll.
I mean, it works out.
Yeah, this one does work out for sure.
I mean, in a bit of a rush, so hopefully this match can go a bit quickly for them, but looking how it's going, I feel like this one's going to be a little bit of a long one.
Yeah, I mean, going back and forth with the points, it doesn't seem like anyone is going to end the match anytime soon here.
Yeah, especially on a pick like this one that combines both like heavy LN tech and coordination. It's definitely going to be a little bit risky for both players because, I mean, we did see Tech 2 where Darkhechiser had a little bit of a lead, just those misses, and obviously Coordination 3, imyeeyee having that advantage.
Yeah, but it does look like actually Darkhechiser with a little bit of an advantage early, but does drop a couple 200s to even it back out again.
Yeah, I expect this one to just be back and forth like the 200s. It's kind of similar to Coordination 3 because this one, oh my god, I would say this is probably like the hardest LN to act in terms of the entire pool.
Yeah, imyeeyee managing to recover the accuracy back to 99.6 just about.
Yeah, but it's not going to do much favor.
Yeah, still in that like 300 point lead here for Darkhechiser, nothing to really speak of and so much map left.
It looks like it's starting to sliver down a little bit, but
a couple 200s there.
Yeah,
and he does drop down to the 99.4 range for a little bit. Still not too far away, nothing unrecoverable. Plenty of time to build that back up.
Yeah, definitely ample time, but it's just really going to be a matter of if imyeeee's able to control those 200s that they've been getting back and forth. Just another one right there as well.
Darkhechiser are actually doing a really good job of increasing the AC over time from 99.6 all the way up to almost 99.7 now.
Yeah, that's extremely impressive, especially just given like these releases are evil.
Just being able to avoid those 200s is working out massively here. Going to be a 0.15% advantage getting to the last third of this map.
Yeah, still ample time to drop that accuracy though from both sides, so it's definitely not a safe option just yet. And especially with just like how evil this is, like I said, I mean, this is exactly the type of pick that you expect within like these early game LNs where even like players who are able to play LNs quite good have a little bit of trouble holding good accuracy.
This lead has started to shrink a little bit towards the end here. imyeeyee managing to recover the accuracy more. But there needs to be more on the side of Darkhechiser. imyeeyee needs to hope Darkhechiser finds some kind of big miss up at the end. But it doesn't look like it's going to happen. In fact, Darkhechiser manages to hit 99.7 in those last seconds. Really strong score there, and going to be a break point.
Yeah, the first breakpoint of this match, and both players putting up a really good fight. I mean, imyeeyee having that ratio advantage actually for like a pick like this one, which typically we've seen Darkhechiser having that ratio advantage. It's really just those grades. I mean, I guess both these players trading their roles in having the better ratio versus having the better grade count.
And Darkhechiser doesn't waste any time here, going straight into the Protect. Density 2. This one should be another one of those maps that you definitely do favor Darkhechiser on, given what we've seen so far on the Density.
Yeah, definitely going for their strongest aspect within the kind of situation. Definitely going to be interesting what they go for after this one. I mean, especially just given that this is the last Density pick in the pool.
And we'll see potential for one more pick for each player after this.
Yeah, definitely gonna be a bit of a scary area to be in for imyeeyee, but not all hope is lost. It does look like imyeeyee having just a little bit of an advantage at this beginning, but we'll have to see how both players do in terms of gaining or losing accuracy.
Darkhechiser hitting a little bit early in the intro there, gonna drop the accuracy down to 99.6, but definitely has enough time to build that back up.
Yeah, this actually is building back up, going into that 99.7 range, but imyeeyee looking quite consistent on this pick, but looks like they're dropping just a little bit. This is really starting to close off between both of them.
It feels like no matter what advantage someone gets in the first seconds, it's always going to be perfectly tied at the halfway point here. 99.74 for both players here.
Yeah, Darkhechiser starting to gain that accuracy advantage just a little bit. But like you said, I mean, we're only in the halfway point. Anything can really happen. I mean, this one's probably like the density pick that a lot of people are just really familiar with. That kind of just continuous, I wouldn't say completely autopilot, but a little bit more autopilot compared to like the other two density picks.
Yeah, a little bit more straightforward, especially when it comes to the releases as well. Nothing too crazy as far as release timings are concerned.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, you still have like that whole strain that comes in every now and then, but it isn't too heavy like in Density 3 or even like Density 1, which is a lot more like control focused. And you start to really see why Darkhechiser had that higher seed when it came to that density pick from the qualifiers.
Yeah, Darkhechiser's accuracy just been increasing throughout the map after that, a little bit of a shaky start there. Opposite case for imyeeyee, dropping ever so slightly throughout the map, now below 99.7. So very small but real advantage here for Darkhechiser going into the outro, the last section here.
Yeah, especially as like there really isn't really much to really spike in terms of difficulty. I mean, we're at the end, like you said, the song's concluding. There isn't really too much that imyeeyee can really do. They've tried their best within this pick, but Darkhechiser's ultimately just going to be gaining that accuracy advantage.
Another really solid density performance here from Darkhechiser. imyeeyee not too far behind, but small difference is still enough to be able to take the point, and Darkhechiser is now on match point 2-4.
Gosh, these scores are just insane. I mean, I think we've seen it within like every match, but like just the fact that everyone's like able to hold into like that 989, 990 range is just incredible. Especially considering that this is an LN tournament. LNs are just so much harder to hold good accuracy on.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially with the amount of variety in these LN patterns. We're not seeing very many like straightforward LN maps in any of these maps in the pool. A lot of really tricky patterns in basically every one of these maps. But yeah, it just goes to show the level of recent players, right? 2025 now.
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone else was around when I was around for back in the day when 980k on Saigo was considered a crazy good LN score for MWC.
Oh man, it's just crazy. I mean, each year we see these players just getting better and better, and this tournament really showing the progression of how good everyone has gotten at LN. I mean, I guess back then during like OMLN3, I mean, not everyone was well rounded in terms of LN, but like in OMLN4, everyone was just hitting 990s in round of 64 still.
Yeah, not really been many difficulty, at least on the combo side of things, for any of these players so far. But we'll see how this one turns out. This is imyeeee's pick. They're going to be hoping to win 2 maps in a row now to be able to force that tiebreaker.
Yeah, I mean, this is I would say a decent pick, just considering that this is quite, well, this is a tech pick and it has like this like really like kind of coordination heavy aspect, but it looks like Darkhechiser's getting a little bit of an advantage here.
Yeah, Darkhechiser's really been warming up throughout this match as well. These kind of like tricky release timings that were throwing them off in that first map that we saw really starting to tighten up those that accuracy, that 200 count as the match goes on. And now we're seeing a little bit of an advantage. Both players still in the 99.7 range.
Yeah, this fight just being one of those fights that we just keep seeing from each pick, just being really close. It's just really a matter of who's able to control so much better. And as we kind of go through this, it's starting to get just a little bit closer.
I was gonna say a couple 200s being dropped, but both players dropped 200s at the same time there, so the lead really stays the same. He does drop a little bit more now into the 99.5 range.
Yeah, this is such a scary position to be in. I mean, you get these like first two picks from imyeeyee, which feels so confident in contrast to like these picks where Darkhechiser's getting that lead, and that lead that hasn't really been growing too much, is getting to that 4K range. I mean, with each pick going by, that lead's just getting stronger and stronger.
Yeah, absolutely. But oh, there's a miss from Darkhechiser, and there's enough time, more than enough time left in the map for imyeeyee to be able to take that back. That was feeling like Darkhechiser's point, but not if you can't hold the combo. And imyeeyee managing to stay in this. We are one pick away from a potential tiebreaker now.
Wow, I was not expecting that at the very end. It looked so confident on the side of Darkhechiser. You just get that miss at the very end, which is so unfortunate for him. But thankfully for imyeeyee, it gives one more chance at least. But the only unfortunate thing is it's Darkhechiser's pick.
Yeah, but on the flip side of things, what does Darkhechiser pick? Because there's no density maps left. Not even the more density-focused wildcard that was banned out. So, I mean, it would have to be one of the wildcard or tech picks you would have to think coming out from Darkhechiser.
Yeah, either wildcard 1 or tech 3 I think are just fine. I mean, maybe tech 3 works a little bit more in favor, just given that kind of like speedy aspect, but we did see Darkhechiser perform a little bit better on the first wildcard in qualifiers, which I would say is a little bit similar in terms of wildcard 1 in here.
Oh, I think I think I get the situation here as well. imyeeyee at a net cafe.
Yeah, that's
Is about to run out of time for his session. In which case, I believe the PC will just switch itself off. So hopefully that doesn't happen.
Yeah, praying that it doesn't happen, especially on a match that is so close like this one. It would just be so unfortunate for things to just end up just because of just unfortunate circumstances, but we'll have to see.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. This one being Darkhechiser's own pick as well. Both players off to a really good start with the accuracy here. Above 99.8 for both. But we'll definitely expect to see that drop over time.
Yeah, especially just with the kind of pseudo technicality that's kind of implemented in here with like some of these like rice notes that act as like the grace notes, making it just a little bit harder to coordinate every single element here, and especially like the releases as well.
Back to dead even now. Darkhechiser does drop a couple 200s. 99.8 for both players.
Gosh, it is so close. It's just back and forth. Like, this pick especially just being like a pick that I guess maybe isn't too hard to hold accuracy on as much as some of these other picks, especially just considering that like stage 2 of qualifiers was quite the accuracy pick for most players.
Yeah, and oh my god, halfway point here in this calm section, 99.78. Not possible for us to tell from this stream who's in the lead.
Yeah, I mean, we see it. It's like hundreds to double digits, but just as we say that, I mean, dropping just a little bit, very unfortunately, but there's still time.
Yeah, not even dropping that much. I mean, down to 99.73 now. Only a small gap away, 1,300 points. That is only a couple 200s difference, really.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we also saw Darkhechiser missing on Tech 2 and then the last pick, so and it's definitely not an instant win as well as these 200s starting to come in from both of them.
Yeah, still staying close. We can see the score lead about 1,000 points, less than 1,000 points even, as we're approaching this final section, and any 200s are really going to decide this one towards the end.
and the accuracies are so close. I mean, you see both of them just gaining or losing, like not even in like a set motion. It's just happening wherever, anywhere, at any moment of time.
Well, both players are finding a bit of consistency at the end here. No big drops that I can see so far. And if this holds still, it's looking like Darkhechiser's in. Oh no, is this the
Oh,
disconnect? That might have been the internet cafe disconnect a couple seconds before the end of the match. But
yeah.
on the bright side, I think this is pretty solidly Darkhechiser's point regardless. We can see the accuracy there from imyeeyee a couple seconds from the end, not going to be able to reach that 99.76 that Darkhechiser got.
Yeah, it's quite unfortunate. I mean, like you said, I don't really think there's too much that could have happened, just given the lead that we saw, and Darkhechiser not really messing up either.
So Darkhechiser does manage to win the match out 5-3 in the end of things.
Yeah,
Solid
well,
win here.
fine.
Going to be moving forward in the winners bracket.
Yeah, a little bit of an upset, even if it's not by as much. It's still an upset at the end of the day.
Yeah, absolutely. Also glad that it didn't end up being decided necessarily by that disconnect.
Absolutely. To have another match in about 20-ish minutes. It is going to be Matcha Latte and Max Cellini.
Yeah, a lot of really strong players you can see. Basically, the entire list that we can see here of matches coming up. Very strong players across the board. Matcha Latte, Max Cellini, both MWC players as well. So, going to be interesting to see the result of that one. So make sure you stick around there. Going to be in about 20 minutes. But until then, we'll go on a little bit of a break. So we'll see you soon.
Yeah, we'll be seeing you. Thank you, Kawhi, for the stream and for our referee. And we'll be seeing you.